This is something we have in common. At what age, he's 14 now, at what age did he comprehend what it was that you did for a living?
I don't know exactly, but I'll give you an example, two examples that I think illustrate perhaps nothing. You know when you're driving in New York City, like coming down the West Side Highway, and there's only two ways in and two ways out of New York City. And you hear one of these crazy motorcycles. It just, and traffic is stalled. But you see a guy coming, and he's weaving in and out of traffic. If he's going 100, he's going 120. So we're stuck in traffic, and here comes this guy, and on his back, he has a big, like, semi-metallic instrument case, you know, one of those great big things you put a stringed instrument in. And he's going 120 with this thing on his back. And my son screams, "Get out of my way, I'm late for the cello lesson." I thought that was pretty good.
That's really good.
So now we're farther down the road, and we're stuck in traffic, and it's hot as hell, and I roll down the window, and Harry says to me, "Dad, roll up the window." And I said, "Harry, it's screaming hot in here. Why do I have to roll up the window?" And my son says to me, "Someone might see you." Yeah, there you go. So does that answer your question? Yeah, I felt pretty good.
That's really good.
That's right.
How does your son have an opinion on the beard?
You know, that's interesting. I forget that I have the damn beard. And I'm surprised that no one has said to me, "Hey, dumbass." I was up skiing in the Catskills one day last winter. And driving out, there's a ski store that says goggle sale. And so I stopped and I thought, whoa.
Yeah.
You know, if you don't stop for a goggle sale, there's not much left in you. So I go in and I see a guy in there, and I said, I guess this is your busy time of year. And he says, "Why?" And I said, "Well, goggle sale." And he said, what can I do for you?" He was not in any mood. And I said, "I'm here to buy a pair of pants for my son." And he said, "Oh, they're all over there." So and I find a pair of pants, and he says, "Okay, is your son here?" And I just looked around, and I said, "No, he's not here." I said, "Stay in the car. I'm going in there to buy you pants." He said, "Well, you know, there's no refunds," the guy says to me. And I said, "Don't worry about it. If they don't fit, I'll just bring it right back and get a refund." So he's not laughing at any of this. So now I pay, it's like $120. So I got a wad of 20s, and I start counting out the 20s. The guy, I've never seen this before. The guy picks up each 20, looks at it, and then makes a mark, and then picks it up and looks at it and makes a mark. And he gets about halfway through, and I said to him, I'm sorry, what are you doing?" He said, "I'm just doing my job. I have to check and see if they're counterfeit." And I said, "Really? Do I look like the kind of guy that would come up here and start passing counterfeit?" And then I realized, oh yeah, I do. I forgot.